Ladies and gentlemen, we have Americans trapped. We have Americans, and you can use the word stranded. We don't know how many Americans there are. There are 20 checkpoints, over 20, by some estimates, between our allies, Afghan allies, American citizens, and the airport. They are telling people to leave. They are telling people to simply leave. The U.S. Embassy urges Americans outside the Kabul airport to leave immediately. What does that mean? We have a situation that is worsening every day. The worst, unfortunately, is yet to come. Hit subscribe to this channel right now because I'm going to talk about these issues in a manner that I don't think anyone else is. Tell your friends about this channel. Hit subscribe to my super chat. Thank you. And we are heading towards, well, it's already a catastrophe. It could be a global issue. It is one of the worst situations in U.S. history. It is one of the worst, most horrendous events in U.S. history because we are actually, ladies and gentlemen, I will say potentially, but in all likelihood, leaving Americans behind. And this didn't have to happen. And Fox News, White House cuts audio feed before Biden's response to reporter on Afghanistan evacuation. New York Post, audio feed cuts out as Biden snarks at reporter's Afghanistan question. He had this nefarious smirk, the arrogance of somebody who doesn't know what's going on. Somebody who's out to lunch. The lights are home, but nobody's home. The lights are on, flickering barely, but nobody's home. And still, the narcissism is there. They said that Trump was a narcissist. You know who the real narcissists are? The smart, the morally superior, holier than thou, incompetent, irresponsible narcissists. The arrogant Enron type of highly educated, inept imbeciles who run this government from a purely marketing and public relations point of view. This is an absolute catastrophe. To my super chat, thank you. I can't do this without you. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you very much for being amazing moderators. And I have to say this. We're going to get to every single example of cruelty, absolute cruelty from Biden's administration, far surpasses. You want to talk about, and I was against family separation during Trump's administration, but actually, unfortunately, worse happened with President Obama and the Senate report that morally superior people didn't read. But you want to talk about separating families, separating Americans from their loved ones. What's taking place is a nightmarish example of family separation taking place right before our eyes. The entire world is watching this, and we are powerless. We have every conceivable advantage. What's taking place with the United States of America is the Biden administration is a microcosm of what they're turning our country into. His son's life is what they're trying to turn and what they're slowly turning our country into. Every conceivable advantage, every possible advantage we've squandered away. And they look at questions about their failures as, you don't have the right to ask us anything. We control public sentiment. We control outrage. We control emotion. You don't have the right to tell us anything. Yeah, you know what? It's a failure. Deal with it. Deal with it. You don't have the right to tell us anything. That's why I say the worst is yet to come. Unfortunately, we might leave Americans there, and we might leave our Afghan allies there. And it is because the incompetence of Biden's administration, the spite and the malice, all they had to do was abide by Trump's negotiated deal, and they didn't do so. Why? To spite Trump. They could have started the evacuations in January, February, March, April. They could have done this. They decided not to. Why? Why? And like I say really quickly, I have to say this. Tell somebody that you know, close to you, that you love them. Even if they like Biden, even if they love bumbling, stumbling Blinken, our fantastic Secretary of State. Tell somebody you love them. Start writing poetry. Start writing that novel you always wanted to write. Do something to make yourself prosperous, happy. Focus on your happiness. Focus on joy. Focus on prosperity. Do so because your life should not go in the same trajectory as our country. We're going to you-know-where in a handbasket, but that doesn't mean that you can't focus on building, making yourself stronger, more prosperous, happier, focusing on joy, success, love, peace. And so it could be like, the novel, it's like the best of times, the worst of times. It was the best of times, the worst of times. So you want the best of times for your life, even though it's the worst of times for our country. Tale of two cities, the tale of two existences, or So focus on your life, and this should be this live stream, this channel, my voice, my writing. And by the way, I was published in the Jerusalem Post. The opinion piece is below. Democrats will turn on a certain somebody by 2022. Check that out. But your life, you should focus on happiness, love, success, joy, and whatever brings you strength, whether it's God or, a spirituality that you possess or something inside you that motivates you, that drives you to succeed and to do good. Focus on that, because our country is in a tailspin. We're in a tailspin right now. And this is what happens when you have media for 4 years creating and fabricating these, they weren't even, issues with Trump. It's just complete fabrication. Roger Rabbit, by the way, there's a $2 super chat. I want to thank you so much. I didn't see who it was. It might have been before the stream. Thank you. Roger Rabbit, thank you. Goodman, your nightly feed is becoming somewhat of a modern gospel. Thank you. The world needs your perspective now more than ever. We love you, H.A. Goodman. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you, Roger Rabbit, for always being so sweet and kind and awesome. Roger Rabbit, thank you. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Roger Rabbit. Thank you. Thank you. I can't do this without you and everybody here, Roger Rabbit. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. We are telling people, Roger Rabbit, everybody, the U.S. Embassy urges Americans outside the Kabul airport to leave immediately. What does that mean? We already know they're trying to leave immediately. There are adversaries, we'll call them the T-Ban, outside of the airport. What does that even mean? We already know this. There are people trapped behind enemy lines. We already know this. What does it mean to leave immediately? We cannot get everyone we need out by August 31st. This is a fact. It is not possible. It is not possible. You couldn't even get out of an apartment in that time period or a house. You couldn't even get out of an office building in that time period. Okay? We don't know how many Americans have left or are still there. We don't know how many Americans of Afghan descent. We don't know how many Afghans with their families are still there. And they say, well, we've gotten out 48,000, 50,000. It's like, okay, we have the planes. We have the C-130s. This is not something to be like, you're doing your job, but you don't know how many are still left behind. You don't know. Why can't you open up? Why can't you? They scoffed at the notion of other airports, the air bases. They scoffed at the notion of the other air bases being utilized. Why? Why? Because you decided to leave them? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? And he was asked today, and it's surreal. They don't want him to answer. They don't want him to talk. Do you understand what's happening? It's like, Mr. President, how many Americans are there? Well, that's enough. We've had enough, okay? We're not going to let you talk to the president. He doesn't know what's going on. We run the show here, everyone around him. Hello? Everybody's known this. If you have a problem, too bad. We're the opinion makers. We can decide what's outrageous and what isn't. We hold the keys to the level of emotion in our country. We can make things, simmer, make things hotter, make things more emotional, or we can make them more calm. You can't tell us. You can't. How dare you accuse us of failing? Just because we have this propped up, trumped up, and I hate to say this, but this hollow shell of a politician, this hollow shell of an actor. He's acting. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. You think he cares? He will be in the history books. He's our 46th president. He'll be in the history books. Okay? He doesn't care. And you know what? If they want to give it to Vice President Kamala Harris, that will be historic. Roger Rabbit, thank you. That'll be historic, and you know what? It's up to them. And go ahead and impeach Biden. They'll say, you know what? It was all political, and it's Trump's fault, and it's not his fault. We have Americans there, and we don't know how many are going to be left behind. And he didn't have to do this. And the media is, luckily, because I think primarily because it's lucrative and because they actually, there's still some kind of sense of patriotism from a media that just, despised the country under Trump and simply wanted everyone to feel the same disdain that they had, contempt for Trump. So every day they created this Trump said this. He called the 1930s and 1940s Germans fine people. He did that. No, he didn't. He said ingest Drano. He said it. He downplayed everything. He said this. Nothing could be further from the truth. It was like constant gossip and hearsay for 4 years. Now we have an actual problem, and they don't want to address it. J-Spot 51. Things I fear are going to get worse. Find something you love. Exactly. Find something you love to do. Exactly. Tell somebody you love that you love them. your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter, your father, your mother, your cousins, your friends, your best friend, your best friends, people who still stick with you for knowing that you've committed the cardinal sin of voting for Trump. Your life could be prosperous and beautiful, and hopefully it is and will continue to be. And every day you can get stronger. Every day you can get more happier, stronger. Focus on joy, health, success. Find something beautiful in your life and start doing a hobby, something that's passionate. If you can, if you're blessed enough to be able to do that, do it. Do it. Don't make any excuses. Anything that you wanted to do for a long time, if you have the means and you have the ability to do so, do it. Because we're going to, where in a handbasket, and it's going to be worse. And I don't think this administration, I don't think mashed potato brains has what it takes to get us out of the mess he created. We don't know how many Americans are behind enemy lines. We don't know. They have given us, the Biden administration made this arbitrary timeline. They didn't have to. They did not have to set this arbitrary timeline. Jean-Louis J Spot, thank you. Joe wants to pull a Sun Tzu, but he's just a little. Jean-Louis. He's the opposite of Sun Tzu. He's Enron. This is the worst possible. He's basically working for the adversary now, he's basically you couldn't find a presidency. For 4 years, their greatest problem was Facebook ads. I think this is, now we understand what national security is, Jean-Louis. Thank you. J-Spot, thank you. Now we understand what national security concerns are. Now we know that the smartest people in the room are actually imbeciles. They are marketed like you would sell a product, like a product that doesn't work, like the Ford Pinto. They are the Ford Pinto of administrations. And like that product, it's cheaper, less costly to simply create this public relations image that, you know what? We have a timeline, we're sticking by it, and, we don't know if people have been left, but we give them every opportunity, and that's what they're going to say. We've given them every opportunity. The reality on the ground is horrendous. People are being beaten, intimidated, losing their lives, or worse. We don't know. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening, and then you have this nonsense. The U.S. Embassy urges Americans outside the Kabul airport to leave immediately. What does that mean? What does that mean? The U.S. Embassy tells Americans at gates in Kabul airport to leave immediately. Don't you think they want to leave immediately? Then they say, they told Americans to stay away from the airport due to clashes outside the Kabul airport. Traveling to the airport and avoid traveling to the airport and avoid the airport gates unless you receive instructions to do so. Sorry, people want to leave. This is the State Department. This is the State Department Twitter feed. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh, and by the way, Kamala Harris and Biden are campaigning for Newsom in California. Okay? That should tell you how worried they are. Are you kidding me? Really? Really? Due to clashes outside the Kabul airport, U.S. citizens should avoid traveling to the airport and avoid airport gates until... This is like, a flight to Miami or like a flight to... this isn't Southwest. What are you talking about? These are like American Airlines. They're like, you're going on vacation. Oh, really? I have to go home? Okay. U.S. citizens should avoid traveling to the airport and avoid airport gates unless you receive instructions to do so. Those are the Abbey Gate, East Gate, and North Gate. Now should leave immediately. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Torkeling! Greetings from Norway. Thank you. Biden will be gone, but the issues will remain until the public replacing the head of the snake, even with Trump, won't solve much. I agree with you on that. Torkeling, there's a problem. We need a country that, I agree with you that, as I put my jacket on, we need to address serious issues, the same issues that got us to this situation. Torkel, thank you. Thank you so very much, Torkel, for your generosity. Thank you. I agree with you on that. This is a huge, huge dilemma, ladies and gentlemen. A catastrophe. An absolute catastrophe. Torkel, thank you so very much. I agree with you. What does this mean? Can somebody explain to me the cruelty behind this due to clashes outside the Kabul airport? And I'm using a different word than the word just because of the algorithm. You could say violence. Outside the Kabul airport, U.S. citizens should avoid traveling to the airport. Oh, where should they go? Should they go back to the checkpoints run by the Taliban? Where should they go, Blinken? Where should they go, bumbling Blinken? Bumbling, stumbling, mashed potato brains. Where should they go? Oh, what was that? I couldn't hear you. Your mic cut off. The microphone, they cut your microphone off. Torkel, thank you again. Thank you. Where should they go? Where should they go? I don't know. Where are you going to go if you've gone to the airport? If you've gone to the airport and they say go back to where? Go back to what? The Holiday Inn in Kabul? Go back to what? To the sports bar? You just go relax. Go back. Go back. Go take a bath. Relax. Yeah. It's tomorrow you'll try again. Really? Where are they going to go back to? This is a desperate situation. Where are they going to go back to? How come we don't have security around the airport? This is unbelievable. And I hear the cruelty of Trump, the cruelty. You couldn't find a crueler, more malicious, petulant, the people who complained about Trump are now, if we utilize the same logic that they utilized against Trump voters, is this all on their hands? Did they vote for this? Is every person left behind facing a nightmarish, reality? Should they blame every Biden voter? Is every Biden voter at fault? I want to know. They are telling people to go back, to leave the airport. That is their only hope for survival. Now there's serious violence outside. UK, US, and Australia have all issued a T-ban warning for Kabul airport. They have asked any citizens of the airport to leave immediately. So the T-ban is outside the airport. And this is 44 seconds ago I'm reading. Or maybe like 10 minutes ago now. This is a nightmare. It's going to get worse. We did this because, despite Trump, all Biden had to do was abide by Trump's deal to get out in an orderly manner, a methodical manner, evacuate everybody that needed to be evacuated. It's so simple. It was so simple. And instead of doing that, they said September. There was no reason to move it from May 1st to September. And Trump out. But Trump was not inept. He was very capable. Abraham Accords, prison reform legislation, record low unemployment. We have an economy that's in the tank. People are looking for new jobs, and cities, especially Democratic-run cities, are making it more difficult every single day for them to find a job. Our economy is completely shattered. Our foreign policy is atrocious. And that's why I say, focus on your life. The silver lining could be you could prosper, yourself, your family. Stay healthy, stay happy. Start exercising. Start lifting weights. Buy some weights on Amazon or wherever. Men, women, young people, just start lifting weights, start working out at home every night. That's what I do every night. If you're a writer, start writing. If you're a novelist, write the novel. If you're an artist, draw, paint, sketch. Do this for your life. If you have somebody that you disagree with politically, but you want to just call and tell them you still love them, do so. And then hang up the phone. You don't have to. Just do something beautiful every single day. Make sure that you live life every single day to the fullest, because there are people at the Kabul airport experiencing a nightmare of Biden's making. And Biden is at fault because the people around him, then keep writing the music, keep writing the stories, keep doing it. The people around Biden made this happen. You have to understand, the same people who brought you Facebook ads, from the producers of Facebook ads, bring you absolute catastrophe in terms of standing among the world. Yes. There are now clashes outside. Now there are clashes outside the airport. They've completely overrun U.S. concern about a very specific. Oh, wow. So I-State K. So there's the I-State in addition to the T-Ban outside. So this is all I can't say because of the algorithm. But the I-State has come outside the airport in addition to the T-Ban. So now we have a situation where the I-State is involved. And it is, we don't know how many people are still there. We don't know how many people are still there. And we don't know how many people are still there. We have this August 31st timeline where we are either going to pass it. Biden says evacuations in Afghanistan are on track to finish by August 31st. No, they're not. That's a lie. See, that's a lie greater than any lie in the petulant 10,565 lies that Trump told. Remember that? We rate 5, 6, 4, 2.5 Pinocchios. You're talking about malicious and petulant people. They're not intelligent. The critics of Trump were never intelligent. They definitely lacked wisdom. They were almost always wrong. You can critique Trump, it's true, but he wasn't inept. He wasn't incompetent. He got things done. The problem is they don't like the things he got done. So then they melted down into a fine mist of contempt and disdain for the Orange Menace. And everything was a cataclysmic, apocalyptic, sensational, existential dilemma. And both Republicans and Democrats called on Biden to extend the timeline past August 31st. He's going to have to extend the timeline. He's going to have to extend the timeline. If he doesn't extend the timeline, then we are going to risk leaving Americans behind and leaving a great many Afghan allies behind. If he extends the timeline, and hopefully he does, we then face a huge problem. We then face a huge problem. Because the adversaries within that country have stated they are going to escalate the situation. They're going to escalate the situation, meaning there's going to be a military confrontation. If there hasn't already been, there probably has already been numerous ones. All he had to do was leave in January. Why didn't he start leaving in January? Why? We had already negotiated the pullout, the withdrawal. Why didn't he simply leave in January? Why didn't he simply leave in January? That's the question. So let's read this here. Bipartisan House calls on Biden to extend Afghanistan withdrawal timeline past August 31st. 75% endorsed the statement. The House problem solvers, they have a problem solvers committee, has voted to officially call on President Joe Biden to extend the August 31st withdrawal date from Afghanistan as the administration scrambles to evacuate Americans stranded in Taliban-controlled Kabul. This is unbelievable. As Democrats and Republicans, we stand united in our commitment to protect U.S. citizens, diplomats, intelligence officers, and our foreign partners who are currently attempting to flee Afghanistan. The statement endorsed by the committee read, "In this time of tremendous politics must be put aside and advance our common goals." From this week's bipartisan member briefing, it is apparent that the administration's set date for departure from Afghanistan on August 31st does not provide enough time to evacuate all American citizens and our partners. We respectfully call on the administration to reconsider its timeline and provide a clear plan to Congress that will result in the completion of our shared national objectives. Okay? And so this is a problem. Now, they said if you extend the timeline, you will cross a red line. Okay. The Taliban said there will be consequences. There will be consequences. A red line. This is NBC News. Let's see. T-Ban calls August 31st withdrawal a red line. The White House said Monday that the U.S. has evacuated or helped to get approximately 48,000 people out of Afghanistan since August 14th, with about 10,900 of them airlifted during 12 hours Monday. Okay, the tally represents an apparent acceleration in the military's colossal effort to relocate as many people as possible. We still have thousands and thousands left. I mean, the people doing this are heroic. The American soldiers there are doing an amazing job. They're tasked with this Herculean task. They're doing like something that it's just unbelievable. Like, as inept and incompetent as Biden is, that's how heroic and brave our soldiers are. The American men and women there are doing amazing work. When asked about the T-Bag warning, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, smart National Security Advisor, smart people, told reporters that Biden was assessing the situation day by day. Yeah, I'm sure about that. I'm sure Biden is assessing the situation. Huh? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Mr. President, what do you think we should do? In fact, let me tell you what we should do. Okay, man. Come on, man. Days of Our Lives is on. What's the problem? Come on, man. You're ruining my day as the world turns, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Hello. Hello, Search. So, you're ruining as the world my telenovelas, man. Come on now, man. Come on, man. Mr. President, what do you think we should do? Hey, Shimon. What? Hey, knock on wood. That was 5 days ago, man. Nobody, like, even believes anything that, well, no, that you should have. Quote, it's a red line President Biden's announced. So this is what the T-Band says. It's a red line. President Biden announced that on August 31st, they would withdraw all their military forces, so they extended. That means they're extending occupation while there is no need for that. If the U.S. or U.K. were to seek additional time to continue evacuations, the answer is no, or there would be consequences. Wow. Thank you, Biden, for giving them every initiative possible. Sorry. Thank you, Biden's handlers. Usually Biden's doing the handling. Sadly, if you know what I mean. Oh, I know how that feels. Or I know that how that works. Now, Biden's handlers have done this. Smart State Department people. Smart State Department people. They're smart State Department people. They're smart, educated people. Where were you educated? Harvard. Where were you educated? Yale, Kennedy Center, and Harvard. Ah. My classmate was Hunter Biden. Ah. We're so smart and educated. Who'd you vote for? Anyone but Trump. Anyone but Trump. Trump is like the worst president of all time. He's the worst president of all time. Who'd you vote for? Biden. And you think this is on your hands now? You think you're morally responsible for the chaos and the nightmarish scenario, the cruelty? What? It happens, Mal, okay? These are people who are afraid of their shadow. These are people who don't want to go outside their own home for fear of you-know-what. Meanwhile, there's a mad rush and scramble to the Kabul airport for people to save their own lives. for people to save their own lives. Oh my God, Jimmy Carter. This is like, he's like, you see, I'm not the worst president of all time. It's Joe Biden. All these Democrats like, I'm a God-fearing man. And Biden is like, come on, man. Give me a kiss, man. Come on. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. And then you have Andrew Cuomo, give me a kiss. I just want a kiss. Come on. Come on. Kiss you. Kiss you. Don't get near me, Andrew Cuomo or Biden or Clinton or any Democrat. Stop. Don't get near me. Don't get near me. Okay? Focus on the evacuation. You inept imbeciles who need to pretend that you need some kind of physical interaction, who need to pretend that you give love and I just want to give us some love. Love. Move away, you weirdo. It's this act that they only care about. Oh, well, you know what? We have an August 31st timeline. We've met it. If you didn't get to the airport, it's your fault. It's like, what? It's complete mayhem. This is a nightmare of epic proportions. What? This is only going to get worse. This is only going to get worse. When told about the T-ban warning, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, look at this, National Security, these are fantastic people, told reporters that Biden was assessing the situation day by day. Yeah, right. He's not assessing anything. And the president will make his own determinations on a potential extension. No, he will do what he's told. The president is, this man is, like I told you, watching Days of Our Lives or As the World Turns, and excuse, Mr. President, we have some matters. So here's what. Read this line here. Read this line here, right here. Okay, this line. Read. Yeah, just here. The teleprompter's right there. Just read it. Yeah. Just doesn't matter. So what if they ask about that? Yeah, we'll cut your microphone off, so they won't ask you anything. Don't worry about that. But what if they ask me how many Americans there are? Don't worry about that. We'll cut your microphone off. Okay, that's fine. Come on, man. Come on, man. He always has this. Like Biden, what Biden tries to do is he does this Clint Eastwood thing where he kind of grits his teeth. And if you just don't understand where he's coming from, it's your fault. Not his. It's your fault. If you don't understand where he's coming from, you're the problem, not him. Mr. President, how many Americans are left? Again, it is something that we are working on. Kind of, sort of, not really. God. The T-ban has agreed to provide safe passage to Americans. Oh my God. This is what the State Department... Oh God. Like, yeah, we agree. Oh, what's the problem? Yeah, sure. Like, we are speaking with a T-ban right now. Sir, do you agree to safe passage? You've never seen safe passage. You kidding me? Safe. Yeah. Safe. Safe passage, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no problem. Safe passage. Sure. So if you've never seen safe passage, you've never seen safer passages. Now go. If you want this connected to this, go. Okay? If you don't want me to dunk your head on a basketball hoop, go. Thank you. Enough. Now go. The T-ban The teabag has agreed to provide safe passage to Americans, third country nationals, and to Afghans who want to leave. Spokesman Ned Price. Ned Price. You couldn't find a better name, Ned Price. You couldn't find, you couldn't find a better name. Jake Sullivan, Ned Price. Joe Biden told reporters, everything's going just as planned. The T-Band know that we're educated at Harvard and Yale. They know how educated we are, so nothing bad could happen. Together we will hold them accountable if they do not. Okay. Really? Really? How is that? How are we going to hold them accountable? Yeah, safe passage. Yeah, of course, safe passage. Yeah, no problem. Fine. Yeah. What do you want us to say? Yeah. Safe passage. Yeah. Okay, go now. Go. Yes, go. If you don't go, big problem. Okay? You see this? Go. This is what happens when, you can say what you like about Trump, but he's got a little nasty side to him. So does Putin, so does Z, so do the T-Band. They have, you need somebody that has, a little, President Obama had this, okay, to an extent, even though he destroyed Libya. Reagan had a little bit of this too. Although Reagan had a lot of this, actually. It's kind of like, oh, you wanna, if you escalate things, you don't know what's going to happen. Now, that I'm not advocating overwhelming military force. I want Americans home. That's what. I don't want a counterinsurgency conflict, which we've had for 20 years. But you have to, in negotiations, when you negotiate, you can't just be like, do we have your assurances, T-Band, that we're the smartest people in the room and we're educated, morally superior liberals. I mean, you promise also we're going to live, but you promise also to have an inclusive, diverse government. Yeah, diverse. No problem. Go. Just leave. If you don't leave, it's a big problem. Okay? Yes. Very diverse. You've never seen diverse. Do you promise to be when we leave in a haphazard manner where we spited Trump because we couldn't give him a political victory because he's Trump and we're educated, morally superior liberal Democrats? Do you promise to treat women with respect? You've never seen respect. You've never even seen respect the way we will respect. You have no clue. Now go. Also, we're going to how about August 31st? Is that good? August 31st. We'll leave then. And will you allow us to leave? Yeah, no problem. What about other groups like the interstate? Yeah, well, we don't even know them. And yeah, sure. We'll tell them not to mess things up. You promise? Yeah. No problem. Just go. Go. Okay. Ned Price, tell everybody that everything's fine. And cut Biden's microphone off, for the love of God. Cut it off. Don't let him speak. Don't let Mashed Potato speak. That's his code name for the Secret Service, Mashed Potato. That's his code name. Mashed Potato. Where is he? Where's Mashed Potato? He's eating mashed potatoes. He's literally eating mashed potato. You'll never believe this. Mashed Potato is eating mashed potatoes. He's over there. Okay. Don't let him speak. Don't let him speak. Cut the mic. And there you go. They cut the mic. Ned Price assures everybody that things will be just fine. Together we'll hold them accountable if they do not. Well, Mr. Price, Mr. Ned Price,
This is the White House press corps. I don't want to ask you anything wrong, just to let me know. I mean, how are you going to hold him accountable since we have thousands upon thousands of Americans still there? I mean, we've spoken to the appropriate officials and authorities within the region, and you will understand. They will be held accountable, and the T-Ban will be very upset with how the accountability that will be held against them. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's for us to decide. We have Harvard and Yale educated people. We have people who once wrote for The Atlantic. We have people who worked at Brookings. We have people who, are lifelong bureaucrats and diplomats, and we're going to find the best way to really, really, really show the T-Ban who's boss. Okay? You have nothing to worry about. Now, can we go? Okay. And then he says, then he goes on to say, Sullivan downplayed criticism that the United States had botched its withdrawal from Afghanistan. Downplayed, given the rush to military evacuation and panic scenes at the airport. Quote, what I see is the United States securing an airfield at the risk of several thousand American troops to facilitate not just the evacuation of Americans, but to facilitate the evacuation of third country nationals from friends and foe alike, and to facilitate the evacuation of tens of thousands of people who, for humanitarian reasons, wanted to leave Afghanistan. This is what I see. I have seen the facilitation of a lot of facilitations, and obviously you don't understand what's really going on. So I see a lot of success where you see a failure. And that's a problem, I think, deep-seated within you. So if you just focus on maybe something in your life that's causing you to have deep-seated animus towards us, that could be, you know what? I accept your apology. How's that? You don't have to apologize because I know what you're probably going through. So you can restate your question. In fact, you can probably write a written apology to us. Quote, this is an enormous logistical, diplomatic, security, humanitarian undertaking. There is no other country in the world who could pull something off like this, bar none. Yeah, there's no other country in the world who would botch a negotiated deal from a political rival simply to spite them, Jake Sullivan. Simply to spite Trump. My God almighty. You wanted to spite Trump. That's what they did. And this is why we're experiencing this. At the Pentagon, Defense Secretary spokesman John Kirby said, quote, the focus is on getting this done by the end of the month. Why should that be the focus? The focus should be completion no matter how long it takes. Ned Flander, exactly. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Why is this happening? Well, I could tell you why, but why do these people think that even their voters will accept this? Which, I mean, even their voters aren't accepting this. Unbelievable. You have a situation that right now, so Brennan's old agency met with the T-Ban leader. Okay, so you're basically asking them to allow you to leave. And I agree you should ask them, but you should also probably ensure that it happens. Not just ask them, you should probably ensure that it happens. And it's like I don't understand how. Look, 2022, he's going to be impeached from this and a whole bunch of other things. The impeachment is there. Resignation could take place because he could be that inept. If this turns into a full-scale war, which could happen, specifically because of Biden's complete inept and incompetent response to this. He could have simply began the evacuations. He could have simply begun the evacuations in January. All he had to do was do that. That's all he had to do. It's really unbelievable. This is the Vox article. I love this. The Taliban want to rule Afghanistan. Are they moderate enough to do it? What? Are they moderate enough to do it? No, they're not moderate. What does that even mean? Oh my God. Oh my God. The Vox must be advising Biden. Their willingness to work with former enemies, commitment to distribute aid, and treatment of women will be strong tests of their purported moderacy. What? What? They're acting before they just go back to, like, what they're about. God. My God. Oh, my God. And we understood this. It's not, but see, the thing is, it's not, we have given them billions in arms and armament. We have showed the world that we're incompetent in evacuating. Like, the soldiers, the military and the soldiers there are doing an amazing job because they are forced to undertake this Herculean task. Like, cleaning up Biden's mess is like a breathtaking, unbelievable task. Now you have, right outside the Afghan airport, they're telling people to leave. And then you have the Taliban try to get their hands on the Afghan central banks. Nearly $10 billion in reserves, but most of the money is in New York. Wow, we showed them. It's like, it's okay that we left billions upon billions in armaments. So about $7 billion is in New York, so $3 billion is there. What? This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. So what does that mean? Oh, the money was frozen last week. Okay. Oh my God. 24 San Diego students and their families are stuck in Afghanistan. 1 hour ago, CNN. Oh my God. About 20 San Diego students and their families who traveled to Afghanistan this summer are stranded in the country, unable to get to Kabul's airport. School and congressional. 6 families, including about 24 children, became stuck in Afghanistan after traveling there to visit relatives. Oh my God. At least one of the stranded families was able to make it back safely to the U.S. The family has 5 children, 4 of whom are students in the district. They are stateside, they are safe, but the hope is that all 24 students will be in school sooner rather than later. Well, how are they going to get to the airport? See, this is what, like, Biden's administration, what they're doing is, so the press secretary, let's see, the press secretary, our wonderful press secretary, the walking thesaurus. I wouldn't use that word. Stranded. I prefer prolonged vacation. These people are like, they're like, I prefer prolonged, indefinite stay in Hades forever. I wouldn't use stranded, so that's bad. So she said Psaki caught flat-footed by question about California students stranded in Afghanistan. GOP Rep Darrell Ellis's office says he notified White House about stranded students, but Psaki still caught flat-footed by the question. She doesn't know. She doesn't care. Okay? Psaki then replied, I certainly don't have additional information on that. I certainly don't. Well, thank you. Thanks for the certainty of your complete lack of knowledge and ignorance. The reporter noted that students and their families apparently stranded in Afghanistan having traveled there. The reporter asked, the LA Times has a story saying that a group of students and their parents are in Afghanistan. Do you have any information on this? And Psaki replied, I do not. Who have recently traveled to Afghanistan? What? Oh, my God. She doesn't know. They don't know anything. They call Trump inept. He was competent, infinitely more competent than what's going on here. The reporter noted that students and their families are apparently stranded in Afghanistan, having traveled there. Psaki then replied, I certainly don't have information on that. I know, as our Secretary of State just noted, when he went through a thorough summary. Thorough summary? No, not a thorough summary. Oh, my God. Not a thorough summary. Mariah V. Marry me. Mariah. Very kind of you. I'm married, but Mariah, thank you so very much. Mariah, thank you so much. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. Thank you, Mariah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Mariah, thank you so very much. I hope all is well. Thank you, Mariah. Thank you. We have recently who have recently traveled to Afghanistan, Psaki stated. The reporter noted that the students and their families apparently stranded in Afghanistan, having traveled there. Mariah, thank you again. I don't know for certain. Psaki then replied, I certainly don't have information on that. I know, as our Secretary of State just noted, when he went through a thorough summary of American citizens and our contacts and our focus over the last several days, he gave an update. I am happy to take their information. What? What? If there's something more detailed to have? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What? Mariah, thank you again. Oh, my God. There are students from California stuck, and Psaki, circle, wonderful circle, wonderful person, circle, press secretary, doesn't know any of the, who is writing the briefs for them, Biden? With crayon? This is horrible. You have students, 24 students stranded and their families? And do you think the Taliban, if they're of Afghan descent, do you think the Taliban's going to be nice to them? They're going to be like, well, you betrayed us. That's how any country, if you're, other countries don't understand the concept of you're an American, it doesn't matter what you look like, you're still an American. They're like, oh, you're one of us. The Taliban are based, and everyone else there, oh, you're one of us, and you went where to be educated? Okay, that's not good. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mariah, thank you again. Thank you, Mariah V. Thank you. Oh, my God. What is going to happen to these students? Okay, Jen Psaki, there are 24 students and their families stuck in Afghanistan. Jake Sullivan, Mariah V. I think he declined my marriage proposal. Mariah V. I'm married already. But Mariah, thank you. Thank you. If I wasn't married. Mariah V. Thank you, though. Greatly appreciated. Mariah, greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. You are awesome. Thank you. What happens? What is going to happen to these students in Afghanistan? What is going to take place? Mariah, thank you so much again. Greatly appreciated. What is going to happen to these students? What will happen to these students? Mariah, thank you again. Thank you, Mariah. She said, I certainly don't have additional information. I know, as our Secretary of State just noted, we went through a thorough summary of American citizens and our contacts and our focus over the last several days. He gave an update. I'm happy to take their information. You're happy to take their information? Why didn't the State Department have a list of Americans there? How difficult is that? You just find out how many Americans went to Afghanistan. What's so difficult about this? Don't we have information on people who left the country? Does this make any sense at all? Fox News has learned that Representative Darrell Issa, who represents the 50th District of California, where the El Cajon Valley School District is located, notified the White House, Pentagon, and State Department about the plight of trapped American children, students, and parents in recent days. He already notified them. Darrell Issa already notified the State Department of the Americans of Afghan descent stuck who are going to school in California. Jen Psaki said in a previous briefing to contact the White House with the names of stranded American citizens. So we did. So she knew already. Why is she lying? It's unbelievable. She knew already. So she knew already. I don't understand. Like, there are California students. Jen Psaki was given the names of these students and their families, so the White House knows the Afghan children, students, and their families who went to visit. Some already made it home. Around 20 are stranded behind enemy lines. They need to be brought home, or they face, God forbid, a catastrophe. And instead of bringing them home, Jen Psaki says, we have a thorough briefing that didn't include the names. But then Darrell Issa said, Jen Psaki said in a previous briefing to contact the White House with names of stranded Americans, so we did. So they have the names already. Why aren't they? Why aren't they? Are these people going to be brought home? Are the stranded Californians going to be brought home before August 31st? Press Secretary Psaki. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Are they going to be brought home before August 31st? Mariah, thank you again. Very kind of you. Thank you again, Mariah V. Thank you. This is unbelievable. Why aren't they already brought home? That's the question. Or why, also, the Taliban, it's not just Afghanistan, it's every country where it's this type of situation. They're not going to look at, Americans or people who study in America, or they're going to look at them as Afghans that can't leave. So they're basically military service, you're going to stay here for us. Why? What are you doing? No, I'm studying in California. Don't be ridiculous. You're staying here. So they're in a huge trouble. This is probably there was an American mom who was stuck behind enemy lines the other day. I'm sure many mothers and fathers, and this is a catastrophe. And now he has this August 31st timeline, and it's you didn't have to have this timeline if you simply started evacuating, if you simply started evacuating on January, if you just, January 20th, he was inaugurated. January 21st, why didn't he just start? Why couldn't he have started January 21st? Why not February, March, April? He had all this time. Instead, they were talking about Trump's tax returns, Trump's taxes. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And you look at like the disconnect, like they're Psaki and Biden. Well, Biden's already disconnected. Come on, man. Have you ever been to a Democratic primary? There's a word for primary that if the algorithm will totally mess up, so starts with a C. I'll just say primary. I know sometimes the algorithm messes up. There's a word for it, but he was asked in Iowa. This is one of his many, like, this is when the demon was coming out of him. He's like, have you ever been, have you ever been, come on, man. Have you ever, come on, man. Have you ever been to a Democratic primary, little lady? Yeah. Because this poor, like, voter was like, I know there's a lot of problems with, how did you get away, like, from all the media attention over, your son? It wasn't your fault. I'm just saying, he's like, how do I get out of this? Oh. And hold on one second. What was he saying? Yeah, hold on. There's so many, like, bizarre moments. Have you ever been to a Democratic? Oh my God. Oh, this is when lying dog face pony soldier. This is Vox. Biden's lying dog face pony soldier moment explained. Everything has a rational explanation, even though it's worse than anything Trump has said. But with Trump, it's the end of the world. Washington Post. Biden jokingly calls a voter buying. Wow. If this isn't Orwellian, I don't know what is. Biden jokingly calls a voter out. Biden jokingly calls a voter who asked about Iowa a lying dog-faced pony soldier. He jokingly, in a very empathetic manner, this is like, I mean, the propagandist, the propaganda is so overt, it's unbelievable. He called a student this, by the way. Student Biden called lying to, says she was humiliated. Yeah, of course. Oh my God. This was one of, like, this is what happens. I was kind of humiliated to be called a liar on national TV by a former vice president. It's unbelievable. This is like what happens. This is what happens when you anoint somebody who is either demonically possessed or just completely out of it. Biden, in a gentle, empathetic moment, calls a student a lying dog-faced pony soldier. Explained. Oh, but wasn't that a horrible thing that made no sense? That only a maniac who's lost his mind would say? No. We explain it here in this very rational article. Read it and enjoy the rationality. Or you're a Trumper. You wouldn't want to be a Trumper, would you? No. We have California students in Afghanistan, Jen Psaki, Biden, if you're listening, Biden's handlers, if you're listening, we have California students. Protect the California students. Bring them home. Help them get through 20 checkpoints. This is unbelievable. They just told people to leave the airport, too. It's like, well, at that point, you simply don't leave. Like, you need to stay and try desperately to get in. The veneer of competence, the allure of competence, has completely evaporated. It's a frightening sight to see. Look, J-Hole, I look fat. You want to do push-ups, man? You want to do push-ups, man? Come on, man. You want to do push-ups, man? Come on. One-arm push-ups, man. Stallone, man. Come on, Stallone. Come on, man. What? He never worked for Burisma. I don't know, I'm getting into strategery. George W. Bush. I can't. Our partners, alongside our hold on. Strategery. I can't. Wait a second. George W. Bush. George W. Bush. Oh my God. Let's see here. New York Times, let's see what they. Some 1,500 Americans still in Afghanistan in the last days of U.S. evacuation. How do you know this? Like, how do you know there's not more? The New York Times says 1,500 Americans. How do you know this? Dozens of California students and parents are trapped in Afghanistan. The T-Ban wants to forget the past, a leader tells the Times, but there will be some restrictions. Like, what? They want to forget the past? Oh my God. Oh my God. If this was Trump, the coverage would be so different. It would be completely end of the world apoplectic. They thought the meeting with Helsinki was national security. You believe it? Trump didn't tell Putin not to run any Facebook ads anymore. This is just like Normandy and Pearl Harbor. And then New York Times, life in Kabul transforms once again under T-Ban rule. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. So we're telling people to leave the airport. We cannot bring people home fast enough. We just can't bring people home fast enough. Okay? They don't know how many Americans are there. They don't know how many Americans are there. And it's like, we just, like, it's like, it's pretty, Cornflakes, that's a good one. Cornflakes was a bad dude. Bad. Bad to the Cornflakes. So, honestly, I give a lot of respect to these congressmen who flew. Seth Moulton, a Democrat from Massachusetts, and Peter Mayer, a Republican from Michigan. I give them a lot of credit. Gee, what's AOC talking about now? I just was wondering. I mean, it's, the world is descending into chaos. It's like, let's see here. Pro tip to keep your ice cream cool: stop burning fossil fuels What? What? Why? What? What? What's the pro tip? Oh, here. ExxonMobil, we all scream for ice cream. Okay. But what's the science behind keeping this summer? Pro tip to keep your ice cream cool: stop burning fossil fuels. Well, actually, you would probably continue to do that because you would need electricity. And electricity is derived or runs off of fossil fuels, so power plants. But whatever. 48,000 likes. 40. This is like. Meanwhile, we still have. Like, how many New Yorkers are trapped in Afghanistan? Does anyone? Does AOC or any like Schumer? Does anyone know? It's interesting. The religion that they have, the religion that they worship, their belief that they're the ones who are competent. They have this almost religious fanaticism of their competency, like the notion that they're very competent and they're the adults in the room and that they're morally superior. These false idols, these like actors, they're all being seen for who they are. Like AOC is tweeting about fossil fuels now. When you would, for your refrigerator to run, you would have to utilize fossil fuels. Okay, but again, it's like not like this is where they're at right now. Not finding out a way to bring home trapped Americans. This is where they're at. It's still business as usual. It's still business as usual. And it's like fossil fuel power plants burn coal or oil to create heat. So it's like she basically contradicted herself in trying to own the oil company, which almost certainly donated to Democrats. But that's what they do. I wrote an article about AOC's Green New Deal in the Federalist. You'll have, it's not green at all, and for all the batteries, car batteries, electric car vehicles, the precious metals are mined in the Congo, in places around the world where indigenous people suffer from the mining of lithium, for example. And Afghanistan has a whole bunch of precious metals. So, I mean, this is a huge, huge issue. The hypocrisy, it's just unbelievable. If God forbid, getting back to the Kabul airport, if God forbid they take anyone's life, it will be a full-scale war. And the interesting thing will be, if he goes ahead and doesn't extend the timeline, there will be people stuck behind enemy lines. We will have abandoned people. And think of the Afghans who risked their lives. Think of the Afghans who risked their lives to help us for 20 years. What if one family or one person was already wanted by a group? Think about that. There are probably so many realities on the ground, because one report said that the Taliban and other groups were going house to house and taking vengeance upon people who helped America. But see, again, you have wealthy democratic socialists or communists or far left They think they're morally superior. Or you have liberal Democrats. They think they're morally superior. Anyone to the left of, like, anybody to the left of anyone who despises President Trump, we'll put it that way, okay? And they say, well, vote Democrat. He's better than Trump. No, they're not. Look at the catastrophe taking place. Even media have jettisoned Biden, and media is what made Biden. These people are media creations. That's why you don't see AOC debating anybody. A couple of YouTubers were so proud that one was so proud that he got Steven Crowder to almost debate him, or it was a debate. One YouTuber wanted to debate Steven Crowder. Then another YouTuber popped up, and Crowder said, no, I'm not going to help you out with propping up your channel by debating me. And they saw that as a huge victory. Oh, my God. And they don't see this as a huge, cataclysmic, apocalyptic loss of prestige, of confidence, of trust around the world. What Biden has done to this country in just 7 months. Here's the difference. When Trump was in office, the conservatives in other countries liked Trump. The liberals just thought that he was the end of the world. The same polarization that took place in this country, the United States of America, the conservatives in Australia, the conservatives in the UK, the conservatives in France, the conservatives throughout the world liked Trump. Okay? They didn't dislike Trump. The liberals around the world are looking at Biden and saying, wow, this guy is one fry short of a Happy Meal. The lights are on, but nobody's home. Everyone knows he's out to lunch. Everyone knows. That's the difference. Everybody knows. So AOC is talking about your refrigerator and how you shouldn't use fossil fuels to ensure your refrigerator works, the freezer works for ice cream, because Exxon Mobil or one of the oil companies, has an ad on ice cream or whatever. And it's like she just owned herself within the tweet. You need fossil fuels for electricity. Power plants run off of fossil fuels. Your freezer runs off of fossil fuels ultimately. So, pro tip. Here's a pro tip. Well, is there maybe a pro tip on maybe getting Americans out of Afghanistan? Pro tip. We have students stuck behind enemy lines in Afghanistan. Any word on that? Everything is public relations and marketing and image to them. It's all image. That's why, when they wrote about me a while back when I switched to Trump, Ross Story wrote a piece on me. I was holding this Smith & Wesson 500, and they have a picture of me, and they're like, anti-Hillary blogger, vows to support Trump. And they show a picture of me, with the Smith & Wesson. And, sometimes I'll type in my name on Twitter, and people will be like, and then you'll see these, far left people, look at what your populism gets, H.A. Goodman. And I'm like, well, what? So you show a Raw Story art hit piece, which they, all of these, Raw Story, Daily Beast, they wrote they published unethical hit pieces on me. But the thing is, they do that with everybody. It's all public relations and marketing. There's no substance. So they don't talk about I stated a million times, I voted for President Trump to bring Americans home. All Americans home, to get us out of that region. Not in a haphazard, last-second, irresponsible manner. In a negotiated deal that Trump negotiated. That's why Trump is better than Biden. That's why Trump was a moral imperative to vote for. If Trump was in office, we wouldn't have this catastrophe because he would have already implemented the deal that he negotiated. May 1st was the timeline, not August. And by the way, September is the timeline that he eventually moved the date to. Exactly. It's arrogance. Exactly. It's complete and utter arrogance. Everything is about what makes them feel good. Like, everything is about what makes them feel good. And so, like, it's like they don't like it's just about public relations. They only care about public relations. That's it. Like, his poll numbers, Biden's poll numbers now are tanking. And they're tanking. They're tanking despite every single possible advantage in media. What propped him up, the only thing, like, he's like made of like ice or clay, and everything's melting now. He's made of media support. Without media support, there is no Biden administration. He's complete, like, you can even look at the infrastructure bill. It would actually decrease GDP in the long term. That's according to Wharton School of Business. It'll decrease GDP. Why would you decrease GDP? Does it make any sense to decrease your economic output in a, multi-trillion-dollar spending bill? I don't understand what does that do? It doesn't help. Construction, building things, is a very small segment of the economy, of the overall economy. We don't generally, our economy is not run on building things, unfortunately. We had manufacturing jobs growing like hundreds of thousands under Trump. But you look now, his poll numbers are tanking, and they think this is the real scary. This is why things can really get bad. You have other groups there that also want to make a name for themselves. You have other groups there that perhaps, like Brennan's old agency, Central Unintelligence. The Central Unintelligence Agency met with the T-Ban. Okay. Well, they didn't meet with the Interstate, and they didn't meet the I-State, and they didn't meet with, Alpha Quarterly. Okay? Pretty soon it'll be charades, and I'll communicate like that. But the August 31st timeline is a marketing, like, it's like this is not something that we can truly abide by. We can't simply say that we're going to get every American out by August 31st. It can't happen that way. It can't happen that way. Like, it cannot happen that way. There are going to be people left behind. If there's 1,500 Americans, how are they going to get to the airport? That's the question. How are they going to get to the airport? So they're completely disconnected from reality. So Biden, troop extension in Afghanistan beyond August 31st under discussion. This is what they do. They create this catastrophe to spite Trump. Then they, in a show of decision making, because they think making a decision means that they're leading. You have to make the right decisions. It's not just making a decision. So they're like, well, August 31st. Well, are you certain? How can you be certain you'll bring every American and every Afghan ally who risked their lives to help us by August 31st? How can you be certain of this? How can you be certain of this? You can't be certain. So you've made a decision, And now you're going to go back on your decision and extend it. That's fine. If you have to extend the timeline, go ahead. But if you extend the timeline and you cross a red line, because the adversaries there have stated if you go any day past August 31st, there will be consequences. So now what are the consequences? If they engage in a military, response, then we're sending tens of thousands of American soldiers. And then we have a full-scale war. And so this could be a catastrophe. It could be a catastrophe. If it doesn't get to that, that nightmare, another nightmare will ensue, and Biden will just say, you know what, we've left, and any questions about Americans left or Afghans left will be, well, we gave them every opportunity, or they wanted to stay, or we're in talks with bringing them home. So they'll, and you better believe the New York Times, the Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, every single public relations firm won't press the issue. The White House press corps won't press the issue. Maybe they will, who knows? But at the end of the day, people are going to suffer. It's just a matter of how many, who, and, what could this mushroom into? What could this, how bad can this get? Because it's already an absolute catastrophe now. It's already an absolute catastrophe. And it's like, what happens if China invades Taiwan? What happens if there's another foreign policy debacle? Let's type in Taiwan. China's trade halt with Lithuania over Taiwan ties sends message to Europe. Bloomberg, U.S. Afghanistan debacle won't lead China to invade Taiwan. That means the opposite will probably happen. Unfortunately, God forbid. But The Hill, Biden must tell Beijing war means instant independence for Taiwan. Unfortunately, that's not the case. They just remember Dungeons and Dragons? I think you still have it with, video games. But Dungeons and Dragons was like a role-playing game, and you could pretend to be this fighter or like a magic user or a druid. This is how the smart, educated foreign policy hawks. This is what Biden's administration and the establishment, that they think everything is this fantasy game. Everything is just like Stratego. Remember Stratego? Everything's just this board game, this chess game. So it's they're completely Bendy. We need to go there and start. Bendy. My thing, Ben, thank you so very much. As always, Ben, thank you. Thank you, Ben. My thing, Ben, is we need to get out eventually. I don't want any prolonged, protracted. Robert, hello. I don't want any protracted military conflict. But Ben, I agree with you. We need to we need to send some type of message that we must protect Americans and Afghans that want to leave. We must protect them. And now you have other groups, Ben, everybody here, thank you. Now you have other groups. It's like now you have other groups there that don't really. Maybe they might want a protracted military conflict. Who knows? Like, unfortunately, they now determine we will respond. Unfortunately, we will respond to any military confrontation with overwhelming force. Well, who knows what bumbling Blinken will do or Biden. But it's either we leave Americans behind, like, God forbid, the chances are we could leave Americans behind, or, God forbid, there's an atrocity that takes place where they take the lives of Americans, or worse, or, I mean, there's nothing worse than that, or something like other nightmare scenarios where we then have to respond militarily, and that would create a new war, which was ongoing for 20 years, but it would be a new escalation. So the evacuation would turn into a full-scale military confrontation, which the T-Band might not want, but the Interstate might want, and Alpha Quarterly might want. Like I said, soon I'll be doing charades. Japan and Taiwan ruling parties to hold security talk Friday. I mean, it's heating up. It's heating up. And it wouldn't take, like... it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It is really unbelievable. We have a situation where Taiwan now is in the news every day because China is looking and saying, look, you know what? You can't even handle that. And by the way, like, you know, we couldn't talk about the origins of you know what. We couldn't talk about a lot of things. We can't talk about the origins because it hurts one country. We can't talk about Hunter's emails because it's the propaganda of another country. We can't talk about anything because people like Mitt Romney and Nancy Pelosi want to silence Trump. So anything like... We're now experiencing a world, the repercussions of spiting Trump. This is also the Trump curse, but in a weird way. Like, you had Andrew Cuomo, now you have Biden's presidency, you had Jussi Smollett, you had Eric Schneiderman, you have a list, Michael Avenatti. You have all of these people who made a name for themselves opposing Trump, and what does it get them in the end? It gets them nothing. It gets them nothing in the end. Bloomberg, U.S. debacle, U.S.-Afghanistan debacle won't lead to China invade. Okay. They know that any attempt to seize the island by force would be deeply risky. All right. I don't know if they really care. They don't even have to invade. They only need to blockade. All they need to do is blockade. And so I hope that doesn't happen. BRX95, hello. I hope that doesn't happen. But see, I mean, again, wow. No air support for Afghan forces after U.S. withdrawal. So, Eric, thank you. Well, I mean, this basically is already confirmed because the T-band control everything. Thank you, Eric. It would be interesting. Okay, because of the island's intrinsic strategic and economic value, the U.S. commitment to its security is more credible than any promise made to Afghanistan. Okay, maybe. Today, as support for Taiwan, the U.S. has grown stronger. Like, I don't want, God forbid that happens, but this would be the time. If China ever wanted Taiwan, now would be the time when we're at our lowest in terms of our capabilities. We also don't have money. We also don't have the money for a protracted conflict. This is our adversaries have a huge advantage over us because they know they can play to the sensibilities of morally superior liberal Democrats. So it could be like Facebook ads from Putin, or it could be like, a lab origins thing from China. And so, instead of getting to the reality that, Facebook ads didn't swing any numbers, and it would be nice to find out how this global catastrophe started. They have a tremendous advantage. The truth will be hidden by half the United States. Half of the United States will hide the truth about something simply to spite Trump, and they'll twist it and contort and fabricate and manipulate the truth into, oh my God, this is bad for whatever reason. It promotes prejudice, or it influences voters, or it's misleading. That's the new phrase now. It's misleading. No, it's not. Things are not misleading. There is a different vantage point from your own. That's called an argument or a debate or a discussion. Erica Snowden, thank you. Thank you, Erica. Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Greatly, greatly appreciated. I hope all is well. Greatly, greatly appreciated. To my super chat, thank you. Erica, hope all is well. Erica Snowden, thank you. Thank you, Erica. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, we have that. We have, let's see what's going on with Vladimir Putin. Russia flies nationals out of Afghanistan on Putin's orders. Z. Putin agreed to join hands to stabilize situation in Afghanistan. Putin launches construction of new nuclear subs and warships. Okay. That's the thing with, one of the reasons the Lincoln Project and Bill Kristol and Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld and Biden were so foolish is that we have more nuclear subs, more aircraft carriers. We have the greatest Air Force. We have the most powerful military, the best trained soldiers, the best special forces. And a counterinsurgency conflict, you don't know who your adversary is, oftentimes. And a nuclear submarine cannot help you. The overwhelming advantages you have for quick, decisive military victories, traditional military victories, don't help you in a counterinsurgency conflict. In a counterinsurgency conflict, the adversary almost always has the initiative. We saw that in Vietnam. So, and the Soviets saw that in Afghanistan as well. And the French saw that in Vietnam. Erica, thank you again. It's not. I do think that Biden will eventually resign. I do think that I think that he will eventually resign either through impeachment or I think there will be President Kamala Harris. I'm not saying it's a categorical prediction. I mean, I'm just saying I feel that I can't believe that things are going to get better. I can't see that Biden is going to, both in terms of the economy or foreign policy, I don't see things getting better. I just don't see things getting better. So, and you're going to have his support is tanking now. How does he rebound? 2022 is going to be immediate impeachment. Probably numerous. They impeached Trump twice. They'll impeach Biden twice. And when they impeach Biden twice, and Lord knows what will happen the next 2 years, or a year and a half, Lord knows what will happen, Democrats will say, you know what? We tried Biden. He's better than Trump. He's better than Trump because he's not Trump, not because he's better than Trump. We have President Kamala Harris. Let's just have President Kamala Harris. I don't think nobody cares. Nobody has any affinity or admiration or loyalty or allegiance to Biden. So, it's like Z calls for greater focus on Chinese military development. So, I mean, they're building up their influence within the region. Our influence around the world is diminishing, and that's because of people like the Lincoln Project who voted alongside Bernie Sanders. You have the same people who oppose Trump. Getting us into this mess. The people who oppose Trump got us into this. The people who said that Trump was cruel and mean and horrible and, democracy and all these problems. I don't know. U.S. official top commander talks with T-Ban on evacuation. Let's see. General Frank McKenzie, head of U.S. Central Command, told T-Ban officials that the U.S. military would respond forcefully to defend the airport if necessary. And see, that's the thing. One issue we have is that there are other groups there as well. That's also a problem. Yeah, the Lincoln Project opposes Trump. That's the basis. The basis of the Never Trumpers are Lincoln Project people who got us into Afghanistan. That's the whole. When you see like Bush and Obama and they're hugging each other and it's fantastic, we love you, Bush. That's the establishment. Roughly 1,500 Americans may still be in Afghanistan less than a week before. Roughly, I mean, we should know this. Some 1,500 Americans could be in Afghanistan with only about 1/3 in contact with the U.S. government. Wow. That's bad. That's really bad. Wow. 1/3 So, like around 700 to 800 Americans, or no, sorry, 500, 500 Americans have lost contact. So, wow. That is frightening. I mean, here's the thing also, it's like, yeah, but also Trump didn't really have a say in who to put. I mean, he did. I guess it's true. He should have not put certain people there. He should never have turned his back on General Michael Flynn. That was a huge issue. A huge issue because that gave them the opening. That gave them an opening for, for everything. We've lost contact with 500 people. It's probably more. And the Biden administration does not know exactly how many Americans want to be, or even can be evacuated. Everybody wants to leave. This nonsense, like, well, this is a great article, by the way, military.com. So the article is found. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the Biden administration. The Taliban is temporarily seated in Kabul airport and agreed to ceasefire with coalition troops. And by the way, God bless the coalition soldiers as well as the American soldiers who are helping us in the UK, other countries as well. God bless you. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken told reporters it's hard to overstate the complexity. It's like it became complex because you made it complex. It became complex because they made it that way. So far, more than 4,500 Americans have been evacuated, according. He added that maybe 4,500. So, federal officials have no way of verifying whether Taliban fighters on the ground are complying. What? This is amazing. The Taliban agreed to give safe passage to Americans, and we have no way of finding out if they are, which we know almost certainly they're not. So far, more than 4,500 Americans have evacuated. I thought we had 10,000 Americans. He added his agencies have made 45,000 phone calls and spent more than 20,000 emails and text messages trying to communicate with the remaining U.S. citizens. See, all of this, all of these numbers, we've done this and that, it's like we didn't have to be, this didn't have to happen. Also, the rescue animals, U.S. woman on a Taliban watch won't leave Kabul without her staff and hundreds of rescue animals. Wow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So, in addition to the Taliban, U.S. officials are concerned over a possibility of interstate or affiliates. I-State could take advantage of the chaos on the ground. I-State is a rival to the Taliban. Wow, okay. So there you go. This is pretty amazing. This is pretty unbelievable. Oladoyan! Oladoyan, thank you! Saw your segment from earlier today. Do you feel like the infrastructure bill will be approved? I think that it probably will be. I think it probably will be eventually. And they're pushing it, and I don't understand why it's not going to help the country. Oladoyan, thank you. I think it probably will be. Oladoyan, thank you. Thank you, Oladoyan, thank you. Ian Moyer, Ian. Thank you, Ian, as always. Thank you for your generosity, as always, Ian. Thank you, Ian. Oladoyan, I think that the infrastructure bill will take place. I just don't think that, if you look at the economic, like its impact on the economy, I don't see how, I just don't see how any of this makes any sense. Like I don't see how any of this makes sense. How does this help how does the infrastructure bill help the country? I understand you want to be FDR, but how? You're going to the construction for roads and buildings, it's not going to employ the vast majority of people who need employment. So how does it help bring people back to work? How on earth does it help to bring people back? How does it help a single mom with 2 kids who, because of, Democrats tanking economies, lost her job? How does it help that single mom with 2 kids? How does it help? I don't understand. Ian Moyer, thank you as always. Thank you. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. And Ian, thank you very, very, very much. I fear, ladies and gentlemen, that unfortunately, the worst is yet to come. I fear that. I fear that the worst is yet to come. I don't want that to happen. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get every American back. But I don't know. I don't know. This is the worst. In addition to Bush, Biden is already one of the worst presidents we've ever had, and with Trump, he's actually one of the better presidents we've had in terms of accomplishments. Communication, he wasn't good at communicating. Reagan was the great communicator. Trump did not communicate effectively, but he did good things. He did good things. Very good things. He was a good leader in terms of accomplishments. He had to deal with a lot. Biden has everything possible, every single possible advantage. And this is a catastrophe of his own making. So when his State Department says, "Oh, well, you look at all the things we've done," it's no, the people there on the ground have done. The soldiers, the American soldiers. Freedom autopsy, HA infrastructure bill, peace land, bread power grab. Yeah, I think that the other hello. I think freedom. It is there's something else going on with the infrastructure bill. It's certainly not economic growth. So I agree with you, Ian. Thank you so much as always. Freedom. Yeah, something is I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all. I agree with that. So You have like the public relations monstrosity is slowly deteriorating before our very eyes, and we'll end this in a couple of minutes, ladies and gentlemen. And to my super chat, I can't thank you enough. Thank you, Ian, and everybody here, Freedom, everybody here. But you look at here just really quickly, the infrastructure bill. It'll decrease GDP. Why would you decrease GDP? Why? Only Biden's administration would actually want the economy to contract. That's fantastic. Infrastructure bill, GDP, Wharton. So, let's see. Let's see if we can get to. The original John plan included $2 billion in spending over 8 years and was estimated by Warren to decrease economic output by 0.8% in 2050. Why would you decrease economic output? Does that make any sense at all? Why would you want to decrease economic output by any percentage, but 0.8% by 2050? Why? That's if everything works everything works out. All of these bills, everything has to work out perfectly for the estimates to Freedom. Thank you. Everything has to work out perfectly. Oladoyan! Thank you, Oladoyan. Thank you. I feel like we're living in the twilight zone with this administration. I do as well. It's the speed of his failure with just a few months is what still has me amazed. No, I know. Once they pass the bill, can we even hope for Trump 2024? I hope for Trump 2024. Either Trump or DeSantis 2024. Oladoyan, thank you. The only reason I say DeSantis is if Trump doesn't want to run. If Trump runs, he has to make sure that he doesn't, because there's the Clinton factor at play here. Trump cannot be divisive enough with his words to serve as political momentum. So Democrats derive the same political momentum that Republicans do in opposing Clinton. So I hope Trump runs. I would love for him to run. No, Biden got us into this mess. It was Biden who didn't abide by Trump's negotiated deal. My God, had he simply evacuated in January, none of this would have happened. Just to spite Trump. Oladoyan, thank you so much. Ian, thank you so much. Oladoyan, Ian, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless. Oladoyan, thank you. Ian, thank you. Freedom, thank you. Everybody here, thank you. Tell somebody you love them. Tell somebody that you care about them this week. Life is short, and you can't let, we'll survive as a country. I think that there will be, I think that the worst is yet to come, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the worst is yet to come. I see, further problems with Biden's administration. And this issue in Afghanistan right now is a catastrophe. Eric, thank you so very much. Everybody, God bless. To my super chat, thank you. God bless you. Have a great night. Oladoyan, Ian, Eric, Luke, everybody here. Thank you so very, very much. God bless you all. And, tonight, tomorrow, this week, somebody close to you, tell them exactly how much they mean to you. Explain to them how much they mean to you and how special they are in your life. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, same time.